But I'm not honestly at least a little bit surprised that people are just now finding out that Facebook is evil. I like to answer questions and comments that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Can you do a tutorial on how to play from 6:18 to 6:30? I would watch that all day long. Okay, sure, 6:18 to 6:30. So if you missed it, this was on a video on transposing stuff with the capo that I did earlier this week. The segment in question is basically just something that kind of sounds like this. And it got me thinking that, like, yeah, there was a time when I thought that was like actually super advanced, but I think it's actually like a really beginner technique that beginners can pick up right off the bat, and it's about efficiency and accuracy, all right? So when you first learn these chords, like C, F major, A minor, and G major, they're not the most efficient things that you'll ever see, right? You'll see like a C major, and it's like, all right, well, that makes sense. 3 on the A string, ring finger, 2 on the D string, middle finger, 1 on the B string, pointer finger. Makes sense, that's cool, right? Then you get to like an F if you look up in a book or on a video or something, and they make you do the bar chord thing. Then you go to a G major, and it's like, all right, you have your ring finger and your pinky, just your ring finger. A lot of different ways to do it, right? But this is going to be kind of like a little bit of like a beginner hack that I think makes things a lot easier. And it is talking about keeping your separate fingers owning a separate fret. So what I mean by that is your first finger is going to take ownership of the first fret, your middle finger is going to take ownership of the second fret, and then your ring finger and your pinky are going to take ownership over just the third fret. We can play all the major chords that most songs will use doing this, all right? So those chords right there, like one of the most common chord progressions ever is like a 1, 6, 4, 5. In C, that would be C major, that'd be the 1, the 6, C, D, E, F, G, A minor, the 4, C, D, E, F major is the 4, A minor is the 6, and then 5, G, C, D, E, F, G, right? So C, A minor, F, G, C, A minor, F, G. You see, like, I'm kind of exaggerating it, but I'm using like a lot of different angles and stuff. It's not the most efficient way. But if you play it like this, you can see, like, it doesn't even look like my hand's even really moving. And then you can spice it up. And all that comes from having different ownership of the frets. So, first of all, we're gonna play a C as a C/G chord, all right? So your pinky is gonna grab the third fret of the A string, and your ring finger is gonna grab the third fret of the E string. Your middle finger and your pointer finger are exactly where they were in the traditional C major chord voicing, but we're using this right here. The reason we're using this is twofold. You can take all your fingers but your pinky and move them down a string, and you go from C to F, all right? Now, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna target the D string and the G string for spots that your middle finger can hammer on and pull off, okay? So even though it starts middle finger down on 2D, we can hammer on. I can actually play with my middle finger off, strum the chord, and then hammer on and get that kind of sound right there. Throwing those in and out already sounds like you're kind of adding a little bit of fancy intermediate stuff, right? Then just move it down a string, just your middle finger. Then you can change it to the F major chord. Right? And then when you get to the F, you can actually take maybe your pointer finger and your middle finger and do that double hammer on. I'm palm muting it now, so you kind of hear it a little better. And then if you're in this C/G chord, take your ring finger and your pinky off. There's the A minor, there's that 6th chord. And then the real trick is playing a G major like this. playing a G major where your ring finger leads as compared to your middle finger, you're gonna be like, why are you making me do this? I spent all this time using my middle finger first to play a G major chord. Well, if you use your ring finger like this, you're still in line with those other main chords in the key of C, right? And then if you use a capo, like I taught in the other lesson, you can transpose it to whatever key that you want. And you can play pretty much any song that you want, like right off the bat, right? So here's your new G chord, ring finger, 3rd fret on the E string, middle finger, 2nd fret on the A string, pinky, 3rd fret on the B string. And then one thing I like to do too is your pinky can hammer on 2 to 3 on the A string. Goes right into a C, F, A, G. So again, you can play all those main chords, C, A minor, F, G, with much, much less effort and kind of having to contort into these different shapes. You could even throw other chords in the same key in there. You could throw a D minor in there using the same kind of ownership rule. You can break a little bit with the E minor to get your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. But basically you can play most of the main chords thinking of it in a more efficient way and then adding those hammer-ons into it because you'll have much more time because you're not trying to arrive on the chord on the downbeat and then already thinking about the next chord. Since you're so close to the next chord no matter where you are, you have a lot more time to kind of explore the cool, open, hammer-on, pull-off type stuff that open chords are great to do. So definitely something that everybody should spend a little bit of time on. I wish I would have when I was first starting out. I would have had a much easier time playing songs instead of trying to always switch to the same G chord voicing, the same F chord voicing, and the same C chord voicing. So just a quick, efficient, and accurate tip. So Sean, you've now got in your possession one of Taylor's best and one of Martin's best acoustic guitars. Which one is hitting a good feel so far, or are they too different to evenly compare? So yeah, I have acquired 2 really great new high-end guitars. This is a Taylor 816 CE Builder's Edition. Incredible guitar. I mean, you've already heard it. I've already used it on a bunch of different music videos and stuff too. This guitar is great, okay? I'm gonna shoot this out in a very unfair comparison with the Martin D35 in just a second. The reason it's an unfair comparison is because they're different body shapes. They're both new, but they have different types of strings. The Taylors come with the elixirs, which I generally prefer the elixirs. We're going to talk more about that in a second. And again, they're just kind of different guitars for different things. But basically, I'm going to play the same thing on both of them real quick for this very unfair comparison. The Taylor. And then think about the Martin. So aside from them being like different sizes and stuff, one of the reasons I think it's an unfair comparison is because even though they're both new, they have different sets of strings on them. All right, so like I said, Taylor ships with the elixirs. Martin has their own guitar strings, which I've never really used the Martin strings a lot because I kind of prefer the slick coated feel of the elixirs and some of the new Box Street ones, which I'll be talking about on the channel soon too. But I think that there's actually something to having the Martin strings on the Martin guitar, even though it's not as easy to play, it just feels more right. It kind of has like an older, more vintage sound as compared to kind of like the slick modern feel of the Taylor, which is really kind of like what both of these are known for. Like the Martin D35 is just kind of an iconic piece of history, just like a vintage heritage guitar that hasn't really changed much in hundreds and hundreds of years, seemingly. Whereas the Taylor 816 is kind of like the best that modern guitar manufacturing innovation has to offer. It's got like, the scooped cutaway with the secondary sound hole. It has electronics. The D35 doesn't even have electronics, which I think is a good thing. But the Taylor, I think it's hard to argue that the Taylor doesn't play better. The Taylor just plays better. It plays like a modern slick guitar. The way that these come from the factory are just second to none. They just play so easy. But that being said, the Martin has such a character and a vibe that for some things is just like the sound that you want, like the sound of like iconic records that we've been listening to for like 40, 50, 60 years and beyond. I think that's really kind of hard to like replicate. That's why I'm so glad I don't have to choose between them. But I do think it's unfair to compare them to each other than just like, hey, if you're looking for like one really nice guitar, these are the things that you might be like interested in, right? Like if you are someone who is out like performing live, I would take this to a live performance first because it has the electric pickup system in it. And as much as you might think that the sound is always better when you mic something up in a live situation, it's so much easier just to go DI, right? It's so much easier. It's always worth it. Nobody's gonna care that you brought a condenser microphone and you fought the sound man because there's stage feedback, so you can play like you're all solid with guitar. Nobody's gonna care live except for you. so that's why I think from a performance standpoint, maybe the Taylor, but from a soul standpoint, maybe the Martin. Sean, where are the guided practices? You did mention that there would be more, right? No salt here, just patiently waiting. Patreon, YouTube, paid Andrea off with Sound Studio. What a guy. Yeah, so I've done a couple videos where they're guided guitar practice lessons, okay? So it's funny, on YouTube, like if you think of like any other thing that involves training, like let's say it's like yoga or weightlifting or whatever, there are videos that take you step by step and just kind of like replace a class, right? Like, all right, just follow this yoga instructor for 30 minutes, 45 minutes or whatever. There really aren't any guitar ones, which I think there should be, right? Because it just makes sense. So I made a few of these where it's like, all right, today we're gonna play a chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, outline the chord with an arpeggio. Then another one, right? But historically, those have been very poor performing videos, so I just decided to do some of them on the Patreon. So there's more on the Patreon if you're interested. But I do think that there's a lot of merit. So even if it doesn't get a lot of views, I think a lot of people find them helpful, and I've gotten a lot of great comments on them. So there will be another one coming either tomorrow or the day after that. But you can find it early on Patreon with an extra guided lesson one. So I want to do more guided lesson stuff. They're for sure always going to be up on the Patreon, but then I'll just kind of like sporadically put them on the YouTube channel as often as, it won't totally kill the channel. But I think there's like a lot of value in it. So definitely stay tuned for those. Any interest in playing obscure indie music? Your voice reminds me of the Backseat Lovers. Hope you'll play one of theirs. Sure. So this is from a comment of a video I posted last week where I played a solo set at a local coffee shop. Just played a bunch of my tunes solo. And I don't think it really gets more obscure and indie than my own stuff. So yes, I play obscure indie music pretty much every day. In the same vein, huge fan of one of your 80 monthly listeners on Spotify. Right on. While we may not be strong in numbers, we are unstoppable in spirit. I can't believe that D'Angelico uses this moron Daniels as representative. Hey man, that makes two of us, Pretty cool that D'Angelico uses me as one of their artists and raps. Just posted a video yesterday on like a year with my mini DC. The funny thing about this salty comment is like, I totally get if people want to make fun of me for like sucking or whatever, but like, this moron. It's not like I'm solving math equations and failing in these YouTube videos. I'm just really playing guitar for the most part. So you can hate on my playing and skills all you want, but when you insult my intelligence, that's a different matter. I don't like this guy. I love this because this really gets at like the heart of the Salty Blues comment, right? I don't like this guy. Whatever possesses someone to just type that, like, who are you even addressing, sir? Are you talking to me? Because then be like, I don't like you. But the fact that you will comment on one of my videos like, I just don't like this guy, that seems to me that you're commenting as part of a community and you want other people to engage with you, be like, I don't like that guy either. But it's just, that's what is so funny to me about these salty comments. That something like that, like, You know, I can't take it anymore. I gotta let him know. I don't like this guy. Don't like him. He's got to know. The people need to know. My favorite one, and I've gotten this a few times too before, is like, I usually never do this, but this guy sucks. Like when they preface it with, I never do this. This is going against my code to spew some negative connotation thing on the internet. But you pushed me too far. You pushed me too far, guitar man. You moron, don't like it. Don't care for it. Sean, who makes the studio desk you have? I love that it has a drawer for a large musical keyboard. Yeah, so the desk is probably like the #1 acquisition that I've gotten in like the last like year or two. I just found it off a dude on Etsy who makes desks. I'll link you to the studio tour or whatever you're interested, and I'll link his shop. I think it's just the eye to Texas. It just kind of does it himself. Super reasonably priced. I got that desk for like $1,000 or like $1,100, which is an amazing deal. I got that like in the beginning of pandemic where there's like a huge desk shortage too. So the price is right. I've had it for I think about a year now, if not longer. I don't totally remember. But the desk is awesome. It has totally transformed my workflow and this entire room. So if you do have a decent sized space and you're looking for it, definitely consider it because great desk. I don't get a kickback or anything, just a great desk. All right, for listening homework, I'm going to throw you to a 1975 song. I've just been in the 1975 mood. They definitely have a lot of bangers. So check that out for listening homework in the link below. And let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or on the Patreon. Stay tuned for that guided lesson. Bring your guitar with it because the whole point is to play along. And like I said, if you have anything you need to get off your chest, whether you like this guy or not, just let me know.